everyone, Angela here. Life can be challenging. Trust me, I get it. However, I have learned we can either view the opposition or value the opportunity. Ponder on the problem or praise the potential. Focus on the situation or find the solution. Despite the current circumstances you're going through, I invite you to join me today as we embark on a grand adventure to discover the reasons why it's a good time to be you.
Here's the encourager herself, making every day a good day, Angela Henderson.
Welcome everyone, and we are so glad that you are with us today. So turn to your neighbor and say, it's a good time to be you. And it is. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. And audience, we just appreciate you being here as well. Thank you. You know, today we have just an amazing show for you. Life can be anything we dream it to be. I can remember when I was a little girl, I had all these big dreams of many different things that I was going to do. First, I was going to become a veterinarian, and my mom was very supportive of me back in the day. And so she would go and she would buy books on, taking care of your cat, taking care of your dog. She would just invest in my dream and in what it was that I wanted to do. Then I decided I was going to become an attorney. Well, then I thought, I think I'll go on and just become a judge. But not just any judge. I'm going to become the first woman Supreme Court Justice. Well, back in my day, Sandra Day O'Connor beat me to that. And so that didn't happen for me. And then I thought, I'm just going to become the first woman president of the United States. I still have opportunity there, my friends. But dreams, we can dream anything and we can become anything. And so today we have an amazing young man that is with us, a friend of mine that I've had the opportunity to just participate in his life when he was a child, and we're going to share a little bit more about that on the show. But he has just come so far in his life, living his dreams, and then even walking into opportunities that he didn't even realize were a part of his destiny. So it's such a pleasure that we are going to be having Representative Marvin Pendarvis with us here in just a few minutes, right after this break. So please do not go anywhere. Remember, it's a good time to be you, and we'll be right back. Hey everyone, Angela here, just wanting to encourage you to pick up my new book. It's a good time to be you. You can find it on angeladhenderson.com or amazon.com. But this is a book that you definitely need. Let me help coach you so that you can know how to turn perils into pearls and trauma into treasures. Life is challenging, and I kind of understand that. But in the pages of this book, you are going to realize that you are created in His image. Go figure out. What about choosing joy? That should be a given. Gethsemane. Not too sure about that one, Angela. How about approved? That's something that we all want. From prison to palace. Let me show you how to get out of prison and live in the palace. Sounds of the season. You've got a season in your life, a great season ahead of you. Listen for the sounds so you can pick up on it. The joys of the journey to somewhere. It's not just the destiny, but it's the joy of the journey. Hey, how about as for me and my house? You can make that declaration and you and your family can serve the Lord. Burn the boats. Listen, if you want to take the island, you gotta burn the boats. Get rid of all your excuses and learn to fly like an eagle. You want to get this book today so that you can move forward in all the things that God has for you. Don't waste another day being down and discouraged and depressed. You gotta know, my friend, that it truly is a good time to be you. Welcome back, everyone, and we are so glad again that you are with us. So at this time, we're going to ask you let's give a hand clap, and let's welcome Representative Marvin Pendarvis to the stage. All right, welcome. We are so glad you're here today. Welcome. Please come on and have a seat. Yes, this is so good to have you, and like I've shared with our guests today, that you and I have a little bit of a history.
That's right.
And it's such an honor to sit here today to call you Representative Pendarvis. And for those of you who might not know our history, I was just honored to participate in Marvin's growth and spiritual growth and development as a child. And you even have a photo of when you were baptized.
I do.
I had the honor of doing that. And so thank you so much for sharing that beautiful memory with me when we met and just, reacquainted ourselves a few weeks ago. But these are, some exciting times, and they're definitely exciting times for you. And we just want to kind of dive right into the questions, and we do appreciate the time that you're sharing with us, because we realize with the work that you do as an attorney as well as a representative in our state, time sometimes can be a little bit, you don't have that much of it these days. Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
Well, very good. So as we are moving forward with this, why don't you just share with us, Mr. Pendarvis, a little bit about your background and some of your childhood?
Absolutely. So I'm a native of North Charleston, born and raised here, the son of a single mom. And so I have 4 siblings, 4 sisters, 2 younger sisters and 2 older sisters, and I'm the only boy. Grew up in North Charleston, bounced around, a pretty challenging childhood. We bounced around from place to place. I think it really gave me perspective as a young person, just really kind of finding a place as to exactly what my purpose was, what a lot of it meant. I think I was very young at the time, and so just really trying to process so much of exactly what was happening. But had despite all of that, was very fortunate to still be surrounded by a loving family, which was important to growth and development. Obviously, growing up in a Christian household helped. I always had a God-fearing mom who instilled some lessons into me that has stayed with me throughout life. That whole thing about the Bible saying that you train up a child, that's something that I take to heart, because I can see it, what happened with my mom and her raising us. And so that was that. But growing up in North Charleston, went to school here, middle, high school, and ultimately graduated in 2007 and went on to the University of South Carolina. So, so much of my, where I'm at now starts in this place, which is why it's so special to me.
Marvin, you made reference to the scripture verse about training up a child in the way that you should go, or they should go, and when they're older, they'll not depart from that. And that was the scripture that my parents, just trained us on and disciplined us in. And so I can definitely see even the work of God, in you, and the seeds that your mom planted inside of you. And I know that she's so proud of you this day, and I certainly am as well. And so we're going to hear a little bit more about your story when we come right back. But first, we're going to take this break. So don't go anywhere. You'll want to be a part of the rest of this. We're so glad that you're here with us today. We have Representative Marvin Pendarvis with us, and just sharing a little bit about his background. Marvin, you had shared that you were raised by a single mom, and what a strong woman, she was and is to this day. With that being said, as a child, as a little boy, what were some of the dreams that you might have, wanted to aspire to be someday?
Yeah, so as a young boy, and especially as a boy in a household full of women, I had a lot of dreams, right?
Yeah.
I was no short of vision. And, a lot of that dealt with just me and my future. I knew I wanted to go off and go to college, and so I had that dream. One of the dreams, the biggest dream that I had as a kid, right? I was going to be the running back for the University of South Carolina football team. That was my dream. Like, I would watch the games on Saturday afternoons, and that was going to be it. You know, I was playing Pop Warner football, and so I said I was going to be the running back for the University of South Carolina. I was going to win us all these games and do all these great things and go off to the NFL. So that was a childhood dream as a boy who was playing sports.
Yes, that is so cool. You know, like I was sharing earlier, you know, I had all these dreams as well of just doing so many different things. People that I saw in my community, or, you know, you're watching TV and you wanted to aspire to be like someday. And, you know, and God always directs our path. I think even in those moments of dreaming, what we call childhood dreams, it really prepares us for the path that He's laid for us. And what I'm hearing in yours, as well as what was in mine, I'm hearing leadership. And I think that, you know, that was important because you were seeing something, accomplishing, achieving, aspiring. So what were some of the struggles, you know, that you had when you were dreaming these dreams? And what were some things that maybe you thought, oh, no, you know, maybe that's not going to happen, or, you know?
Yeah, so I think a lot of my upbringing had to do with it. You know, there were a number of challenges that just existed in real life, right?
Yeah.
You know, you can have these dreams, but it's hard to focus on the dream when you have what's in front of you that can be seeming difficult. I'll tell you one of the bigger difficulties and challenges. I had some anger issues when I was a kid.
Wow.
You know, I was in anger management. And a lot of it dealt with my father died when I was young. You know, dealing with a lot of the struggles at home. I'm the only boy. You know, my mom was very strict just because she wanted to protect me in some ways, but I felt like it was overbearing, and so I rebelled in some ways. I kind of was expressed myself in ways at school and in ways I didn't know how, right? I didn't have necessarily a father or a father figure or a male mentor in my life at a young age, and so it really led me to act out in some ways. So that was a challenge, you know, getting through that.
I can imagine, you know, but even at that, when we look at issues such as that, such as anger, and we see it as, you know, maybe that was a weakness in my life and something that I struggled with, you know, God can even take that and make a positive, you know, come out of it. And I think what is operating through you now is it's a drive and it's a passion, you know, for what He's called you to do and what's placed inside of you. So with that being shared, at what point in your life did you see things change, and at what moment did you decide that you wanted to become the attorney that you are today?
So I always had, I guess, a seed that was a vision planted in me that I wanted to be an attorney, even from the age of 5. That didn't really manifest itself into this burning desire until I got to high school. But I'll tell you what the pivotal moment was. I was in high school, I think maybe 10th, 11th grade at Garrett Academy. And it got to a point where I think I had gotten suspended from school. And I had only got suspended one time in high school, and this is the pivotal moment that I'm talking about. But it was early on. I got suspended from school, something that happened on a field trip. And I just started to think about kind of what I wanted to do going forward and the impact that I was going to have. And I remember the assistant principal just saying to me, and I remember him calling my mom at the time because he wanted to let her know, hey, you know, this is what I'm going to get ready to do your son. But he said, you have a lot of potential, young man.
Wow.
You're going to do some wonderful things for this community and for this world. And at the end of the day, you have to remember that the only person that's stopping you is you. And I guess that just stuck with me at an early age. And from there, I just kind of doubled down on, you know, what I wanted to do. Decided that, you know, I was going to be serious about pursuing all the dreams that I had, going off to college, getting a law degree, and really becoming the person that I felt like I was called to be.
Yes. Good for you. And you know, you shared a couple of numbers here. At the age of 5, you thought you might want to be an attorney, and the number 5 represents grace. And so God's grace was on your life throughout those years and those pivotal teenage years even, the hard years, knowing that this was the plan that he had for you. And so when the idea was planted in you, the grace was upon you in order to be able to walk through what you needed to. And in the 10th, 11th grade area, that number 10 represents law and order. And so God was establishing order in your life and getting your attention, at that time to say, okay, now's the time to really start getting serious about what my plans are for you. My grace is sufficient to help you even in your weakness, which the number 11 represents that. It's our incompletions, our, imperfections. And it helps us to understand that, we need him in our lives. And so this is getting really exciting. Wow. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be right back to hear more of Representative Pendarvis's journey into the government. So thank you. We'll be right back.
Hey everyone, Angela here. Just wanting to invite you to share your story with us. We all have times in our lives when it just seemed like it was impossible. But then there was that moment of breakthrough. And just maybe your story was meant to be shared and imparted to be able to encourage and uplift others. Well, we would love to be able to give you that opportunity. So how about send your story into us at itsagoodtimetobeYou@gmail.com for consideration. We would love the opportunity to be able to bring you up on stage so that you can do what you were designed to do, and that was to be an encouragement to those around you. Sometimes you just can't make this stuff up, but when it happens, we want the world to know about it. So again, reach out to us at itsagoodtimetobeYou@gmail.com and send in that story for us to consider. And remember, it's a good time to be you.
Wow, thank you so much for being with us today. And thank you, Representative Pendarvis, for sharing your time with us. And your story is very inspiring and it's very impacting. And I know that a lot of people that are watching today in our audience are just going to be so empowered to go and live their dreams. And so we kind of want to move forward a little bit and come up in time. We've understood a little bit about your history and about the dreams that you had as a child, but what made you feel like you wanted to run for public office, and what was that process like for you?
So, really, the decision to come to run for public office came in 2015. It was a trying time for our area. The Emanuel 9 massacre downtown happened. Walter Scott shooting happened in North Charleston. And as an attorney who was already practicing in the area, I just felt this calling that I was supposed to have a voice in how we were supposed to move forward.
That's beautiful. And, in 2015, when we look at numbers, the number 15 represents new direction. And so even with you starting your law practice and envisioning yourself of being a successful attorney and, and in that aspect, God said, okay, that's just a piece of the puzzle here, Marvin. There's something else too. There's another reason why you're doing this. And so when you began to run for public office, did you face any opposition? Was there any racial tension? Because during that time, as you mentioned, there was the Charleston 9, at Mother Emanuel, and our hearts were broken at that time. But we really saw God bring unity in our city. But what was your experience?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. The first time that I ran, it was an unsuccessful bid, but the process is one that I hadn't experienced before, right? I was 25 at the time, a first-time candidate. The only people that I knew were the people that I went to high school with and my family. So I didn't really I wasn't a name brand necessarily in the community, but by the grace of God, I was able to get out in the community and through the connects that I had and reach out. So it was really a grassroots the election that first time because it was a city council race, so it was on a smaller scale. And it took me just, it was my then girlfriend and my best friend from high school and one of my college friends. And it was just the four of us, and we just went around knocking doors in North Charleston, trying to get votes, right? And that's really what the process was that first time. I didn't know anything. I didn't know much. We raised like $6,000 and that was it. But my second time, which was in 2017,
Which, by the way, 17 means victory.
Well, and so in 2017, I was unsuccessful in my first bid. We had, I got a phone call from some people who told me that there was going to be a resignation in the House of Representatives, and that they wanted me to. They thought I would be a good person to run for that seat.
Wow.
And I literally, it was a Saturday morning. I was in my apartment at the time. Called my then girlfriend, said, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking about." Talked to my mom about it. Prayed about it, and I said, okay, this is something that was on my heart. I felt like this is what I'm supposed to do, and that this time I would be successful. And so that, I went into it really strong, was able to have a lot of support, especially compared to the first time. And a number of people in the community rallied around me. But it wasn't easy. I had some opposition. I was in a race. There was a primary opponent, 2 people running against me in the primary, and I also had someone running against me in the general election.
Now, were they seasoned politicians?
They were not in that one. In the first election, it was seasoned. It was a seasoned politician who was in it. But this time, one guy actually was on the school board, and so he was seasoned in his own right. Yeah. And it just made it difficult, because you wanted to make sure you were doing the right things, and you wanted to make sure that you were able to kind of differentiate yourself from the pack and say, this is why I need to be the person to represent you. And so, we were fortunate enough to be able to navigate that in a way that ultimately was successful.
That is amazing, Marvin. So wonderful and exciting. We're going to hear just a little bit more when we come back, but first let's go to this break. Don't go away. Hey, as a leader, you are a broker of gifts. So whether you are a professional, a business owner, or a ministerial leader, I would love to accompany you in transforming your ordinary staff into an extraordinary team through leadership development, team building, and personal discovery. You will learn the amazing gifts, skills, and talents that each of you have and know how to bring them together in order to do great things. So reach out to me at AngelaDHenderson.com and let's begin your amazing adventure today. And remember, it's a good time to be you. Welcome back, everyone. So we have with us here Representative Marvin Pendarvis here in South Carolina House of Representatives, and it's just such a pleasure for you to be able to share your story. You mentioned that there were difficulties and opposition that you faced in both races, that you ran, and that you learned a lot of lessons along the way. And now that you are in office, and you've taken on the role, you mentioned your then girlfriend, but now you're a husband, you're a father, you've are creating a life and building a life. What enables you to be able to persevere during all this time? Because I know you're just probably so busy.
I look back at my upbringing, and it gives me a source of strength. I truly believe that God placed me in the positions that I've been in just from childhood to now for a reason. I feel like my steps were ordered in that way simply because it was me. He wanted me to go through what I did to build me, to build character, to build strength. And that's something that's translated into my life's work. And so that, and then, of course, my mom, who's a big source of strength for me.
That is so beautiful. That is so beautiful. And again, I've said this already, but I know she's so proud of you. And so are we. I am proud of you, just being a part of, your beginnings as a young boy. And I always remember just how kind-hearted you were, and you were always wanting to be involved and do things. And so God has just really brought us into these amazing places in our lives. The stories of our lives serve a great purpose, and we're meant to inspire and uplift and encourage other people. So with that being said, how would you encourage someone who maybe has a desire to get involved in leadership and in politics? What would be some things that you would impart into them?
So the first thing I would say is what was recommended to me. One of the first things a mentor of mine said to me when I was thinking about it, he said, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? And, that's always been kind of my mantra, because, you can be the person, why not you? We have to sometimes we ask that question, why me, why not you? And so I would encourage the young people, the people who are looking to be in leadership positions or go into public office to really search within, and think about the purpose that you serve currently and whatever it is and the roles that you have and lead and know that it's deep within you. That's something that I was able to find out at an early age, and that so much of the qualities that you need to lead and to be in public office already exist. You just have to have the right opportunity to bring it out. And so many of us have to just dig deep into those opportunities that are right before us, and God's grace will get us there.
Do you recall, like as you were going through your high school years and your school years, where there were opportunities for leadership that you stepped in, but maybe at the time didn't realize that's what you were doing?
Yes, in fact, there were. I was involved in student council when I was in high school, and never thought much about it. And I was involved in a number of competitions and things where we had to assert some leadership roles. And again, you don't really think about it. It's just being in high school. I wanted to be involved, and so that was just my opportunity to be involved. But looking back at that, 15 years later, and realizing that it was there. The conversations that I had, the skills that I displayed, in leading people. They kind of it's there now. So.
That's so amazing. And so you're never too young or too old to recognize the path that God is leading you on, in order to rise up. And we need leaders in our world today. We need leaders who hear God and who follow the leadership of God in their lives. And so, follow your dreams. Connect with someone who is doing what you desire to do. In the words of Representative Pendarvis, if not you, then who? If not now, then when? Or not what, then when? And so those are great words to definitely live by. So with that being said, Representative Pendarvis, please share with us, when did you realize it was a good time to be you?
It was this past year. And, after my son was born, and my wife and I were just sitting in the house and talking, and I realized how blessed I was, a father, a husband, going through the many challenges that I did growing up to be in the position to influence people. As a member of the House of Representatives, it's not something that I took for granted, and I realized, it's a good time to be me.
Yes, sir, it is. It absolutely is. How about at the count of 3, we let them know it's a good time to be you. 1, 2, 3. It's a good time to be you.
To connect with Representative Marvin Pendarvis, just go to www.marvinpendarvis.com. And remember, it's a good time to be you.